Good morning to everyone. And first of all, thanks to Ram and Maxbyte team for pulling me in this session. It's a great opportunity to share what we have done in our industry for the last 7 years. Whatever just you heard a few minutes back in terms of the steps, where do you start and how do you do, I'm trying to share a gist of how we have gone about, what are the challenges that you could face, and then I'll take some questions, whatever you have. And I would rather have more questions than one-way communication. So please feel free to ask questions. All of us are together in this journey. And I think the morning when I heard Dr. Derrier talking about the support that the government is giving in terms of framework, incentives, it's a great opportunity for everyone to transform. So with that, I'm basically sharing with you the nuts and bolts of what is this digital transformation. And I'll try to keep it brief because many of us know a lot of things how to do, but I'm just trying to get it together into where does it start and how do you go about. So this is what the approach we took, and many of these elements of transformation you heard just now being talked about. One is this Industry 4.0 digital transformation has to be a part of overall business. So how do you align it with the overall business strategy? And does digital really fit into the overall business strategy? So embark on digital very clearly knowing that your top management is supporting you and they believe that some of the digital transformation or digitalization is going to benefit the business. Second, I think contrary to IT where the technology is being done by a few people who are the part of the CIO's organization, digital has to be led by the business, by everyone in the organization. It is not a few experts, the so-called data scientists and people who know about the technologies. It's about adoption. It's about the users. So second is, are your users prepared in the organization to really adopt digital? And that will require a lot in terms of preparing them for something called digital transformation, giving them a session on what it is. Third one is to create the ecosystem in terms of how are you going to doing it? Because not all organizations have every capability that is required to do it. So do you have the right structure? Who in the organization is going to lead it? Who are the partners like just now Maxbyte kind of partners who can come in and do it? Because there are a lot of experienced people available. So where do you start your journey? Until you become self-sufficient, create an ecosystem around you who are going to help you, including technology partners. Now, today technology is available in plenty. Many providers are there, all solutions are there, but where you come into picture is aligning that to your business, and that's why the last step of putting the technology together and showing you how it works, and then mapping it back to your business. That's very important. And the fourth and the last one is map out technology and create a roadmap, which is what is about baseline. Don't start digital transformation unless you have a baseline of where you are, and you just heard the framework. So we followed a similar framework, not exactly an industry standard framework, but we had our own view of how we want to measure excellence. So this is what, and the core of digital transformation is not the technology. Again, I'm going to tell you that. It is the culture. Is your organization ready to change the way you're working? Okay, that's most important. And the last one, about business value. Without integrating the digital transformation with business value, I can guarantee to you, in 2 years' time, you will come back and say, should we really do it? Be careful about integration. Then, how did we go about from foundation, starting to transformation? So, if you look at transformation, that's in black and it is deliberate because we are not yet there in terms of journey. How long has it taken to move from foundation to acceleration in an organization which has got around 10,000 people? It's taken us around 6 years to reach a stage where we are saying Now we could really see the seeds of wheat transforming. That is where the digital is becoming a part of your daily life. And transformation is when all of this gets adopted and becomes a part of your DNA. So typically when you look at this foundation, there are a few aspects. What are the business impact? What are your problems that you're trying to solve? Identify them very quickly in the beginning. Again, you heard the recent previous session talking about what are your top priorities. Second, experimentation. When we started, we had no clue of how these technologies work, what they are. We said, leap of faith, try and experiment. It's okay to fail in digital transformation. It's okay to fail, but don't do the same mistakes again and again. But from a time when I am talking about to today, I think the failure rates have come down because there's a lot of learning that is available in the market and with the clients. Then do not try to digitalize absolutely a broken process. Digital is not an answer to fixing discipline issues and broken processes. So look at whether your process in the organization is really amenable to digital transformation. That is, we need to look at it. And then what data do you have? Do you have any data at all? That maturity, when you do assessment, you will know what kind of data do you have. And involve your people in a lot of awareness sessions and what we call as digital immersion. And we took our 20 of our leaders, senior topmost leaders, to outside to see what is digital transformation, what people are doing. So we took them to system integrators, showed them exactly what this digital transformation means. So that was a 2-day session where they visited 2 companies in 2 days, from morning to evening, only talking about digital. And the end of second day, we asked them, how did you find? Many of them said, this is, we must do it. Then sit with them and say, what are your top priorities? Once you get the leadership buy-in in terms of knowing exactly what it is, plus make people aware. Both of them you have to do parallelly. Make the people aware with all these technologies. Make it simple. Don't make it very overwhelming where people think that this is very difficult. It's not difficult. So you have to, first of all, make people comfortable that if it's okay, if you do not know, it's okay. Because nobody knows technologies, right? Second is remove the fear of what if somebody sees and tells me that I do not know. So a lot of foundational work is around preparing the people. And once you do that, I think you implement, deploy a few solutions, take 1 or 2 factories as pilots, deploy entire end-to-end solution, and start to see some value out of it. You start to see, yeah, this is really adding value. And when the value is not big, but at least people should believe that by investing in this, my time in these technologies, I'm getting some value. I think that acceleration will happen faster. And the ownership will also increase. Standardization of solutions, because while in the phase 1, you're experimenting with a lot of new solutions, in phase 2, you would have figured out what works, what doesn't work, and standardize it. Whether it's a platform, whether it's data acquisition platform, whether it is data lake, whether it is preventive maintenance solution, whether it is AR, VR, standardize on what your solution is so that you can scale up acceleration. Do not keep experimenting forever, because it'll basically make your people always learning and you will not get the benefits of transformation. And make the data transparent. In the first phase, you struggle to get data, but in second phase, you are saying data is a property of the organization. Data doesn't belong to any individual. So you graduate to that level where organizational data is belonging to everyone. And when you talk about the third phase of transformation, it's seriously about culture, right? So are people really practicing digital first mindset, okay? It's about mindset. Does digital become a way of life? And then is your workforce, everyone in the organization, does he or she understand how digital is impacting his or her work? And they should be able to articulate it. Then you can say, I become really digitally transformed. So we have broadly categorized my experience into these 3. 1, foundation, maybe 1 to 1.5 years. Acceleration, 2 to 4 years to 5 years. and then transformation starts beyond that. Of course, it depends on size of your organization, but that's the kind of time that you'll require, because it's not about first of all, you'll not get money easily. Second, when you do get money, you have to put it prudently and get the value. So it does take time. Don't be impatient with digital transformation. It's going to take time. And it depends on, again, your industry, but it could take between minimum of 3 to 5 years to get to the level where you're comfortable scaling it up. And with all of that, now I want to spend time on this. With our experience of all that we have done, we have now created a framework for plant of the future. This is the elements of when you walk into the plant and then say, is it fully digitally transformed? These are the elements that we look at today. And as we speak about it, the plants which are very matured in the assessment, they are now implementing it completely with rigorously. So broadly, let me touch. Most important for you is foundation, right? If you don't have the basic infrastructure, IT infrastructure, links, Wi-Fi, all of that, you will not be able to scale up. Because every time you go and talk to them on transformation, they'll bring you down to network is not working, my phone doesn't connect, I don't have the link. So set that up. Clearly, one technical thing is foundation. Second is data management is very critical, because as you become bigger, right now, when you start, people will play around with data. Your data is available to everybody, everywhere. That's not okay. So you need to quickly bring data into one place, quickly put a management governance around your data, and then make sure what data is available to whom. That is data management, 2 foundation layers. Other 2 foundation layers are on the people, okay? How much are you spending on capability building in your people? And consciously, how are you driving the digital mindset? How your practices are changing from your analog to digital. Analog is your previous world, digital is the new one. So this is foundation. The second part is, what is the technology stack that you need to choose? And that requires you to carefully choose what works for you. Don't adopt everything because every world is adopting. Just choose what is fit for you, okay? And then map your technology to the business problem that you're trying to solve. And that's what we have put in the second one, right? So when you look at technology layer, there are a lot of technology, IoT, robotics, lot of technology, but map it to which process needs improvement, what technology is relevant to which process. So if you look at, we said connected plant, have smart factory or a future factory should be connected. Second, there should be automation, no paper, okay? Everything should be as much as possible, not like an automobile where everything is manufactured by robots. I'm not talking about automation of that level. I'm talking about automation where machines talk to each other and decision making is more data driven than people driven. Then asset management for manufacturing companies, lot of focus on asset management. Track and trace either inside the factory or logistics inbound or logistics outbound. I saw that framework which Dr. Dario shared, right? You have a supply chain inbound, supply chain outbound, and supply chain in-house. So typically track and trace is, if I am a customer like an Amazon, do I know where my order is today? Can I exactly know my order is getting produced in so-and-so factory? Do you have a traceability of the entire value chain? Also, fourth one and fifth one is very, very important, and I like the way Dr. Dario spoke about, right? Safety. How much are you doing digital in safety and secure workplace and sustainability? So this is very, very critical for us. When we do assessment of plant of the future, these are what we see. Absolutely clear that we should see this. So the next one is, how are people making decisions using data? Is it prevalent or not? Are the old practices vanishing? I'll give you 2-3 examples. So when you have morning meetings, typically you finish a shift and have a morning meeting, you discuss about what happened in the last shift. Now that is done in a board, somebody writes, somebody speaks. Now today it is replaced with the data. What happened in the last 1 hour? It's not about what happened in the last 8 hours. It's about every hour someone is looking at the data and taking decisions. That's what is expected. The operators are looking at data to see how they are doing on productivity, how they are doing on quality. And you have given them aid where they can correct themselves every hour. So the rhythm of decision making will vary. Some decisions will make in 1 hour, some decisions will make every shift, some decisions will make every day, some decisions will make every week. But it's extremely important for you to document what decisions are you taking using data, who is responsible, is that person fully capable, trained, does that person have the required data to make the decisions, have we given the data in a form that it makes it easy for that person to make the decision. So these are so many elements that goes into decision making. So transaction automation, okay, remove all the mundane work which people do. Visualization and reports, everything is visualized. Our reports are making, so shift reports, for example, if shifts ends at 2:30 the reports are out, not next day morning. Third one is, how do we really help people on the shop floor? For example, if a machine or if an asset throws up anomaly or a signal, what will that person do, maintenance person? Are they using those signals? Many of the times you will see in shop floor, typical practice is to close the control loop, they will remove it, and they will, all the false alarms, they will remove it. So factory looks very good. But in a digital world, you need to address those alarms and make sure people are acting on the data alerts. Because if you have a lot of data and everybody just looks at it and you have very colorful dashboards as you walk through, but when you talk to people, they are not able to explain what do they do with data, it's a waste of investment. That's why I tell people, don't be very enamored with colorful dashboards. That's the first and easy part to do. But what do you do with that data? How are you presenting the data? How easy is for people to make decisions? And the last one is value delivery. If you're doing all of this, are you getting value in terms of KPI? Are you becoming smart, paperless, everything? Third, gate-to-gate digital. If you are a digital smart factory, I think when you walk into the factory, you should experience the digital from gate in to gate out. That's what we have put as a expectation. And last one is people. So this is how we have now, over the last few years, worked within our organization with people, and Maxbyte was a great partner as a part of this journey. And we use PTC ThingWorks. Maxbyte, one of the partners you saw, they have helped us in automating the entire maintenance cycle. How do you collect the maintenance from, we have an Oracle system, right? So how do you take the preventive maintenance whole process? You have an asset, predictive maintenance asset, it throws a signal. How do you generate a work order? How do you generate purchase order for the supplier? And then close the loop. They have partnered with us to give the entire end-to-end automation on the maintenance. There are many examples where you can use small automations over the ERP. ERP, use it as a core for transaction, but if you want value delivery, a lot of bolt-ons today are available, which gives you fantastic opportunity. So this is what I want to share with you as to what is the factory of the future if you're totally digitally transformed. This is what we have set as expectation, that if everything here is a tick and a green, we certify that as a factory of the future. Any one element is missing, they still have to do. So this is the highest level of maturity we expect from our plants. And what this framework does, it puts everything in one sheet. You don't need, it's all integrated, and put this as a vision, and people will start ticking. Factories today, what they do, they start ticking one by one saying, okay, this is done, this is not done. Last but not the least, I think there are, and this is something which I picked up. 10 two-letter words that defines culture is, if it is to be, it is up to me. That if it is to be, it is up to me is the crux of transformation. Are people ready? Are people taking ownership? Okay? So this is the most important part. Digital first mindset. How do practices mature into data? And you watch practices, because many of you have world-class manufacturing practices, but those practices are now becoming digitally how digitalization is changing those practices have to be documented. How do you keep pace with the technology changes? Because you will be bombarded with a lot of technology changes, right? So don't get too much worried about technology changes. You keep a watch and see whether it's required to change or not. How do your employees talk, use, and breathe digital? And when I say digital, data. Read it as data. And last is a full transformation requires you to cover your suppliers as well as customers. If not to the full extent, at least to a large extent, you should have your extended value chain as a part of digital. And that's what is the effort now to cover the entire value chain, including customers and suppliers. Okay? And then have your own way of measuring the maturity. Now, we don't need very sophisticated maturity assessments every month. You need those kind of assessment maybe once in 6 months or once in 1 year. But you must have a measurement every month. Are you moving up the needle? So devise your own measurement. This is how we do measurement. We measure every factory every month. Are they moving on the index? What does it typically capture? How are people engaged in digital transformation? Are they participating? Are they learning? Are they doing projects? Are they closing projects? Are the projects aligned to the value? Are they delivering value? That's what it is. If you look at all of this, and we also take care of intangible benefits. For example, if safety improves, we don't measure it financially. It's okay. Safety incidents have started coming down. Managers started taking notice. That's a good intangible benefit. So top part is about engagement of the people. Bottom part is about the outcome of the engagement in terms of business benefits. And you devise your own, keep it simple, but rigorously measure it every month. Then only you'll know, then people will establish a rhythm and they will know, okay, this is serious business. Otherwise, it will become side business. So the question is whether you want it to be a serious business or you want it to be a side business. If you want it to be a serious business, measure something like this every month, publish and review. Then you will see the meter moving. And then, of course, analytics always there. Like I told you, make it so visual, but important thing is, do people understand all of this? So spend time in making it relevant to people. So at an operator level, don't bombard with too many charts with too many data. Maybe the operator needs only 2 data. Supervisor maybe needs 4 data points. Management maybe needs 10 data points. So devise the structure of your visualization and analytics to different layers and present it and make sure they are using it. And this is last, futuristic in terms of, if you are totally digitally transformed, I think the leadership of the company has to change, including structure, and I will run through very quickly, okay? Digital literacy is very important, okay, for leaders of future. They don't need to be experts, but they should know what's happening. Number 2, mindset, adaptability, agility. If you say, no, I've been doing this for the last 20 years like this, I'm going to remain like this, digital transformation won't happen. You have to challenge your process. And in sustainability and resilience, one of the things that we are seeing is your business process agile enough to be adapting to situations. So that is something that leaders should be ready, that, I should be able to adopt. Third one is about, don't just go and learn. I mean, for example, here, learn from other industries. There is so much that others have done. You can just replicate it to your situation. So go beyond your industry in digital transformation. You may not get great practices in your industry. Go out. Ethical leadership, use of data. Don't proliferate data and misuse data. And I'll give you one example. You have the safety cameras that capture the faces of employees, right? Technology is available. Now, as a company, would you do it from a privacy perspective? So you have to be careful. Technology will allow you to do anything. But what is your organizational policy as a leadership? To use the data very ethically so that you do not compromise on the local laws, you do not compromise on regulations, you do not compromise on data privacy, and you do not compromise on the individual's willingness to share the data. All of this is very important as ethical leadership. Collaboration, cross-functional, none of the digital projects will succeed if a department takes it and does it. It has to be collaborative. And force database decision making. It is difficult, but I think people will learn. and you have to have mentoring. The way we do it is we have data mentors attached to every factory, 2 data mentors. Their only job is to teach people how to use data, how to use data, how to use data, how to use data. That's nothing else. Look, teach them. Look, teach them. So it takes 1 year for them to say, okay, now I know how to use data. Okay, so if you really want to create sustainable value out of your transformation, one is capacity in terms of do you have the right people, right mix of people to handle so many projects, capability of people, and the force to drive culture in terms of changing from old practices to database practice is what will give you sustainable practice in digital. Okay, with that, if there are any questions, I'm ready to take. Thank you.
This is Vikram from Maxbyte Technologies. Just I want to know your opinion on following subjects. The first one, how do we persuade a company to a digital transformation path that has already many problems? That means leadership problem, employee level problem, mindset problem. How can we persuade? Number 2, there are many frameworks for the past 2 days we are discussing, and there are a lot of suggestions and very good ideas. But how can we is it the right time for us to include the OT security assessment as part of this process level assessment also? Because I come from a background where there is a decent enough digitalization technologies were there. As we know, in 2018, we got a WannaCry hit, right? Even though a highly digitized company couldn't handle it, there was a lot of problem. Later, we identified so many process for digitalization assessment, but there were a very few process and frameworks that can address OT security. What is your thoughts on that, sir? Thank you very much.
So let me take the second one first. Okay, OT security as a part of infrastructure is absolutely a must. So I look at it when I talked about foundation and IT infrastructure. One of the critical aspects is security. And especially since the OT IT now is merging, it should be a part of your assessment, absolutely no doubt. Okay? You should have a key pillar of your assessment should be, is the organization technology-wise, are they ready? And that means your basic foundation of network, Wi-Fi, everything, plus security. Do you know what data you're generating? Do you know what data is being used for what? And hence, identify the cybersecurity risks. It should be a part of the organizational risk. Okay? So the answer, yes. Cybersecurity assessment should be a must for baseline assessment. However, I would decide the timing of when I want to do it. Okay? So, security is very important part of the foundation. It should be. But timing-wise, you have to be clear because sometimes security may discourage people from using because every time you ask data, they will say security. So typically, I'm not blaming IT guys, but their first response is, I can't give you the data. But why? Find ways. Today, technology is available. So security may be in the first assessment, you will not find it great, but as they start building pilots, start working parallelly on security. But baseline assessment absolutely should be done. No question about it. Let's come to the second one. If a company is not in good shape in terms of people or performance, would they even want to get into digital transformation? That's my first question, okay? Why would you even force them to get into digital transformation? Because I told you, digital transformation is not going to solve your problems, which is very chronic in nature, okay? If you are in bad shape, your people are not good, your management is not good, don't embark on digital transformation. I would rather say, first fix your house, put your house in order, basic, and then, because who is going to care for it? When basics are not in place, hygiene is not in place, digital transformation won't find the mind space of leaders. So my recommendation, I would not even go and force them, okay? But I will still assess whether there is a possibility that it can help, but I won't force them. Thank you so much.